Lost like me, then it's alright. Just go get it wrong. Go get it wrong. I want somebody to tell me that I'm not alone. That we're not alone.
Welcome to another episode of Inspires A. My name is Narcis Mbuyu, and I'm your host for today's session. Welcome, Kwanele. You good?
Thank you. I'm good. How are you, nurses?
Yeah, I'm good as well. For such an occasion, you sound very down.
Yeah, it's been a long day. I'm so sorry about that. Hey, guys.
So, but anyways, the reason why I'm asking is because this episode that we're doing is actually our 100th episode of Inspires A. And you have no idea doing this 100 times, like it's too much work, but we're finally
Yes.
past that landmark. So
Yeah, it's been a journey.
I- it has been a journey, hey. And what better way to
Yeah.
celebrate when to bring about a big guest from Microsoft. I hope she doesn't mind me calling a big guest, but someone special from Microsoft to come through and celebrate with us for this exciting occasion. So just to give a bit brief about today's session, I'm sure you guys have been seeing on Microsoft publishing GitHub, publishing Copilots from Office 365, Power Apps 365, Copilots, etc. And you're probably wondering, what do all of these things do? Well, just to let you know, all these technologies that are being released right now, they stem from GitHub Copilot. And it was inspired from that. And our guest Lebo from Microsoft, who is a go-to manager for Azure, will be telling us more about it. Before I welcome her on to the show, Kwanele, do you have any idea what is Copilot, or have you heard about everything that I've just said about now, or you'll be learning about it for the first time?
Well, I'll be learning about it for the first time, and I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, no problem. So with that being said, I'd like to welcome our guest Lebo from Microsoft. Welcome, Lebo.
Thank you so much, Narcis, as well as Kwanele. Thank you so much for having me here. And to everyone who doesn't know me, my name is Leboga Madise, also known as Lebo Madise or Frutimo. And I'm joining you from Pretoria, in South Africa. And yeah, I am a Azure Go-to-Market Manager at Microsoft, and I'm happy to be here. And similar to Narcis and Kwanele, I actually also used to be a Microsoft student partner when I was in university, although now it's called Microsoft Learn for Ambassadors.
Yes, welcome,
Nice to
Lebo.
have you.
And just to add on, you are a special guest for such an occasion, and I can't believe it as well. But any comments before we start on today's session?
I'm so excited. To be on your 100th episode is honestly an honor, but also this is long overdue. So I hope to not just be a guest today, but to be a friend of Inspire SA, where I get to hop on and learn together with you and fellow students from across the country. Very well done. I think this also speaks to your commitment to enabling other learners from all over the country and the world, because, the web doesn't have any borders. So very well done, and congratulations on your 100th episode.
Yay! So, with that being said, can you please tell us what we'll be doing in today's session, or what we can look ahead to?
Yes. So today I'm going to be talking about GitHub Copilot. So I do have a few slides prepared, but maybe before I get onto the slides, let me share what Copilot is, right? So Copilot is an AI tool that's developed by GitHub, hence the name GitHub Copilot. And it was designed to assist developers with writing code by generating suggestions as well as completing code snippets. And I know when I say suggestions, anyone who's used Visual Studio or Visual Studio Code is aware of the built-in IntelliSense, which is like an auto-suggest if you're using any of the built-in methods, or if you're using a method that you've already defined somewhere else, it will try and auto-suggest that. What Copilot does, it takes that to the next level. So it's like IntelliSense, what was the predecessors to what we have today, right? So it uses machine learning algorithms as well as natural language processing to provide developers with real-time code completion suggestions as they write their code, right? And this is now like a revolution. It means everyone from students to someone interested to learning how to code can actually get started today with the help of Copilot. And it'll help you learn how to code much faster by suggesting the correct snippets as well as the syntax. I know if you're moving from one programming language to another, a lot of the things that normally catches people out is the syntax. For example, how you create an array in one language versus another determines whether you put in the brackets after the name or rules like defining the size instead of having an empty array. So all those things Copilot is able to assist you with. And you can also reduce the amount of errors you have because it's as if it's always checking what you're doing and also recommending what you're doing. And another thing that Copilot is, or how you can actually refer to it from today onwards, is an AI pair programmer. And by pair programming, I mean, think of it as having a buddy next to you, coding with you from anywhere, whether it's 12 o'clock at night, or it's during the day while you're practicing your assignments. You have that Copilot ready and available for you. And just as with any pair programmer, the navigator will not force you to do anything that you don't want to. They can just suggest that go this way or go that way, but you don't necessarily have to take the first suggestion that it offers you or the entire suggestion. You can take partial and carry on with your own implementation, and it will adapt according to what you do. And it will also help improve your coding abilities, because then you'll be learning how to write high quality code. I think one of the things that impresses me the most, which I believe any lecturer that introduced me to code would be happy that I'm now doing, is that Copilot has really emphasized the importance of commenting your code, right? So as I shared before, I do have a few slides. This will also take care of some of the frequently asked questions that a lot of people have. So yes, it works for any language of your choice. So any programming language of your choice, you can use it with Copilot. Another thing I want to share is that for purposes of all the demos that I'm going to do today, I will be using Visual Studio Code. However, Copilot is compatible and is available with any of your IDEs like Visual Studio or any of the JetBrains IDEs, or even if you're a ninja that uses NeoVim. So Visual Studio Code is my IDE of choice. what I'm going to cover, I've already done what is GitHub Copilot. And now I am going to move on to how you use it as well as how it works. So before we get to the how part, let me also touch base on what you'll need to get started, because from here onwards, I'm going to jump right through to my IDE and show you how to use Copilot. So to get started, you need two things. One is a GitHub account. If you don't have one, we will be sharing resources on how to create one. You simply go to github.com to create an account. However, we've got special resources for students. So if you are a student who's watching this, GitHub has enabled you to already start your professional developer journey or data science journey whilst you are still in university. They've provided you with what's now known as the GitHub Student Developer Pack. I will be sharing the URL as well as the QR code for you to scan and be able to redeem those benefits. And then once you have your GitHub account in place, you will need an extension called GitHub Copilot. Please make sure that you add the com, and I will also show that once we are in Visual Studio Code so that you know where to go. So for the data science portion of my talk today, I will be referencing a repo. Check it out. It's called I've got a repo called Learning in Public. So any of the exercises that we do during this recording, they will be in that repo. I also have another repo that I'm going to use specifically for my data science demos. And that's the Learn Data Science method. So that's also pinned on my GitHub profile. My GitHub username is FruityMo. So it's Fruit YMO. So yeah, before I get into the demos, Narcisa, do you have any questions? Kwanele, do you have any questions for me?
So honestly, the question that I have is, so I don't have to have an account or pay for GitHub Copilot in order for me to use, because as students, we are broke. We always like free stuff. So that's why I want to
That's
ask.
a really brilliant. Yeah, that's a brilliant question. And thank you for asking. Pilot is free for students. For professionals, it's not free. However, professionals can get a trial license before committing to the paid subscription. So if you're a student, the QR code that I was showing not so long ago has details of how you can get your Copilot. So the first thing you need to do is activate the GitHub Student Developer Pack. So we will be sharing the link in the description of the video, so that if you miss out on scanning the QR code, you can just use the link and activate your GitHub Student Developer Pack. And once you validated your student status, you have lots of benefits available to you, of which GitHub is one of them. So that means a free usage of Copilot at your fingertips for all students.
Wow. Okay. That's really interesting. We didn't know that it existed, but now with you sharing this knowledge, it helps a bit. Yeah. We may continue.
Thank you. So I'm going to kickstart with my demo, and spoil the fun, but I was just deleting my dry run demos from the terminal so that we can do everything from scratch. Before we start, that I will show you where to go to install the extension. So on Visual Studio Code, or any IDE voice, you go to your extensions tab, and then you type in there GitHub code. You can see it's verified. The verified publisher is github.com. Okay. And wow, it almost has 5 million downloads. That is amazing. So over so yeah, install your extension and then reload your to get started before preparing for this. And for people that maybe didn't yet activate their student developer account or sign up for the trial license, even if you install the extension, it will still need to validate against your GitHub account for it to work. So you will have to sign in, and then it will say, okay, this person is licensed to use GitHub Copilot. So remember the first step, sign up for the student developer pack if you're a student. And if you're a professional watching this, make sure you sign up for Copilot trial license. Okay, shall we get started?
Yes.
Yeah, I was just saying,
All right.
just like that, it's easy to get started. Just like that.
Yes. Yeah. So as you can see, a lot of the projects that I work on are on Python, or it's either Python script or I use Jupyter Notebook. I'm actually working on a talk right now where I'm using R, although I'm not a data scientist, but thanks to Copilot, I am enabled to do some work with R. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do an exercise. Because we are all developers, we'll start counting at 0. So I'll call the exercise 0, and then .py. So this will be the first file that we are working in, and I'm going to save it here. Exercise 0. I know a lot of people who are new to programming, irrespective of any language of their choice, they normally learn how to work with variables, and then they learn how to do input output, and then they learn how to create methods. And one of the popular methods that they learn is for a simple calculator, doing addition, subtraction, multiplication, and so forth. So that's the example that we're going to use today. So I'm going to write a comment here and say this program is a simple calculator that can add, subtract. So let me do this. Let me word wrap so that the Control-Alt-C so that you can see everything. And if you want me to zoom in, please let me know so that everything is visible to the participants. Okay, this is too much.
No problem. It's visible for now.
Okay, maybe one more. Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
so I've just given a description of what. Awesome. I've just given a description of what exercise 0 is about. So this is a Python program. So a simple calculator that can add, subtract, multiply, and divide two numbers. Okay. And then before I start, right, I need you to pay attention to something. At the bottom of my IDE over here. It shows the language of the file, which is Python right now, the version that I'm using, as well as Copilot. So this here shows that Copilot is activated, and I can deactivate it if I want to. So when I installed the extension, I enabled Copilot globally, meaning it doesn't matter which project I'm working for, it will always be by default activated. But if I want to deactivate it, I can simply click over here at the bottom and it will be deactivated. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to start with a function that adds 2 numbers. I mean, already just from their comment, Copilot is already suggesting, implementation features for my calculator. So I love the fact that it's recommending this, and you can accept everything by pressing the tab on your keyboard, or you can select one word at a time by pressing the arrow sign, okay? And then it will accept one word at a time. So yes, I want a function that adds 2 numbers, but my best practice is, say, give those numbers variables, A and B. So here, it now defines my function, and it's called it add. So define add A and B. So let me just get rid of that quickly. Yeah, 1 space. Okay. Perfect. So define A and B. That's my function. And then I wanted to return A plus B. So what I'm doing on my side is each time I'm happy with the suggestion from Autopilot, I press my tab button and it simply accepts the recommendation. Okay, so all of that is done. It's pretty defined, and I want to also print the result. Ooh, okay, so print. So let me write a comment. So I want to print. So print the method name and the result of the method. Okay. So now it auto suggests print add 1, 2. Wow. So meaning we take as input 1, the number 1 and 2, and then equals, and then we're calling the method over here add 1, 2. So I'm very happy with that. I can say save. So now I'm going to run this file. See over here, I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger. So my add method, add 1, 2 is equals to 3. So I'm calling the add method 1, 2 is equals to 3. So now we promised a calculator, right? So let's move on to subtracting 2 numbers. I didn't even do anything, literally. All I did was press enter twice, and it already knows what I want to do. So I'm going to accept all of that, and then it's going to define the method, and then I'm happy with that. And then now it's learning what I want, right? Now it's learning that, hey, each time I create a method for my calculator, I want to be able to print the method name and the result of the method, okay? Before I accept this, I also want to, for anyone who's new at programming, right? Remember, my subtract method also takes in 2 parameters, A and B. So it means the first parameter is the one. If you're doing your normal maths, I mean, BODMAS rules do apply, but right now I'm not using this method in with another method, right? So it's saying whatever number is in the first variable is going to be that number minus the number that's in the second variable. So if this number is higher than that number, so if B is higher than A, the number will be negative. But if A is higher than B, the number will be positive. Okay, so I'm going to accept all of that. And then it still uses the same numbers as a suggestion, which I'm happy, but I can change that for myself, right? I can now give A and B new values. Let's say I want to give it 10 and 20, and then I'm gonna subtract A and B like that, and then we're gonna run it again. See, over here, I'm just going to make it bigger. It says there that add 1 and 2 is 3, subtract 10, 20 is equals to minus 10. So hence, I wanted to emphasize in the beginning that the way we've defined our subtract method, it's always we're always subtracting the second number from the first number. So now for the rest of my calculator, right? This is becoming too like I don't want to always put in numbers. I want to use variables that I have, right? So maybe what I can do, I can also say, hey, let's improve. No, I don't want to import the math module. Let's improve the above code. I don't want to add docstring code by reading in the value of A and B from the user. Okay, so now it says A is equals to int input entire number. How beautiful is this, guys? And then B int enter another number. And then print subtract AB is equals to subtract AB. And then I can do the same for my addition, you know, so print add, sorry. Yeah, so print add AB is equals to add AB. So I'm gonna run that. So as you can see now, I'm just gonna take this a little bit higher so that everyone can see. So it runs, remember Python runs your code from in sequential order, like from top to bottom, right? Yeah. So I'm calling the method AB with the numbers that I provided at the top there, and it's still printed out the values. And now it reached the statement where it can read in any number from me. So I'm saying enter a number. So I'm gonna enter 65, and then it says it wants another number, and I'm gonna say 5 just to keep it simple. And then it says subtract AB. So now it says subtract AB is equals to 60 and add AB is 70. How 70. Beautiful is that?
Wow.
Yeah. So this is a calculator, right? It does addition and subtraction. And for anyone who's following this, I'm gonna leave this exercise here so that you can fork exercise 0 from the repo. We'll add the repo details in the description of the video, and then you can continue with the help of Copilot and implement the multiply and divide two numbers methods. You can even go further and do the remainder one. Hint, you want to use the modulo operator for that one. So yeah, this is like our Python one, and we can do the same thing let's say with Java, so I'm just
I
gonna
got a question.
click here. Yes.
So while
Please ask.
we going for Java, I've noticed that GitHub Copilot also sees or analyzes the way you program or make your code, and it follows the same order as you are doing there. So I saw comments, code, comments, code, comment, code, and it was following that. Does it pick that up as well, your style of coding?
That's a very good question. Remember, all the comments that are here, I wrote them myself. They were not done by GitHub Copilot, but what it did do, right, is suggest what I want to do next. For example, over here, when I got to the subtract one, you're right. It actually prompted this comment before it gave the suggestion of the code, and that so how I look at it is that it's also a way of testing, because now we both agree that this is what I want to do, right? Because if it was just churning out code without any context, I might even get lost myself as to, oh my gosh, what are we doing here? Or what were we trying to do? And talking about testing, it's always great to be able to test. So let's say you want to always subtract numbers that can give you a positive result. You can always test that A should be greater than B before you do your addition or subtraction. Or you can also test to make sure that people are actually using numbers instead of letters. So I can write here to say, so this function tests, no, you can even test if a number is even. So if actually, it's always great to test before you do anything with the things. So for example, here we're getting input from the person. So I want to test, so I can either test the code by entering 10. I want to test if a valid number was entered, right? So I can say if A equals 0, print you've entered 0, enter a valid number, and then it exits. And then, but that's not enough, right? So test if and not a letter. So for example, if A is equals to an entry string, or if they enter a letter, I can say, hey, you've entered a letter, please enter a valid number and exit. So maybe for purposes of your exercise, maybe you don't want to exit, you actually want to repeat using a while loop or for loop, asking the person to enter the correct number. But that's what I like, is that it also now enables you to test for valid inputs as you're doing your code, which is how we should think when we're developing, because we shouldn't assume when you say enter a number that someone will legit enter a number. Someone might just say X, because they're entering the number 10 in Roman numerals. But this program doesn't know that. It was designed to just take in normal numbers. Okay. And sorry for going too far from the question that you asked me. Maybe just to wrap up. Yeah. Maybe just to wrap up, we did brag and say Copilot works for any language of your choice. I want to select Java as my next language. So I'm going to choose Java. And then I'm also going to save this as exercise 0, but the Java version. So I'm just going to say exercise 0 again. And then the last time I coded in Java was a while ago, but I at least still remember that I need to like import stuff. So import java.util. I can add everything, or I can add stream, which is what I'll be using, or any of the libraries. But to make it easy for myself for purposes of this exercise, I'm just going to say, I'm going to use the wildcard. Okay. So all of that. And then now, already, it's suggesting, Copilot is ahead of its time. It's already suggesting the fact that I want to read in. So scanner is a class in Java, and you can use it to read in input from a user. So over here, it creates an object. Scanner input is equals to new scanner. System.out the print, enter a number. It prompts the user to enter a number. Here we read in a number from the user, and then here we print out the number that the user has entered. But that's not the program that we want to write, right? So I'm gonna write a comment here and say class 0. Okay, and then, okay. Let's see, let me be patient. Let's see what it says, class 0.
Is it a comment or?
Yeah, it's a comment, code. But I was waiting to see what else it wants to say about my exercise class 0. So I don't know if you know, but with Java, the class name actually is supposed to be the same name as the file name. So because my file name is exercise 0, the actual class is going to be exercise 0. Okay. So I'm going to have exercise 0 which is the main class that has a method for adding two numbers A and B. Boom. So public class exercise 0, and then it suggests the main method, public static void main string args, and then create a scanner object, prompt the user to enter two numbers. It does that, and then invoke the add method to add the two numbers and store that in a variable called sum, and then display the sum. And then it also defines the method add here, which adds two numbers over there. So I'm going to accept everything by pressing tab. Boom. We've got it. Oh, wow. So over here.
So your whole calculator being made.
Yep. I just want to see. Okay. Yeah. So my whole calculator is made. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this file. And it's prompting me to enter two numbers. So I'm going to use the same numbers we used for actually a different number, just so you don't think I'm not doing what I wanted, what I promised. I'm going to enter 70 now. And 5. So the sum is 75.
Oh.
Yeah. And I can do the same thing for addition, for subtraction, multiplication, So So now that we're seeing the power of Copilot, Nasis and Kwanele, who are both still in varsity, you might be asking yourself, do I still need to learn how to code if Copilot can do all of this? And the answer is yes. So remember earlier I said Copilot is your AI pair programmer. So think of yourself as being a driver in a car with a navigator. The navigator can tell you where to go and stuff, but it can't force you, you know, and you can choose to turn it on and off. You can, as I showed you before, you can deactivate Copilot. And now Copilot is also, like, we can take that analogy of the AI programmer to say, okay, if it can already help me with code that is either repetitive or even defined in a lot of these class libraries, then what is my role today as a developer? And I would say your role today as your developer is more critical than ever, because you are now wearing your problem solving hat. You are now taking on the role to say, okay, I'm going to use the power of AI as well as the software development skills that I have to solve real problems, you know? So for example, you can use, let's say there are so many potholes right now, in the city. You can maybe write your own pothole detector. So you can collect the images of what a pothole looks like, and you can use the power of AI to help you train a model on how to do that. But the actual app that people will interface with, it's upon your creativity. You can design it and then create it, you know? So I say it really calls upon us to be very creative and to also take on the responsibility of being problem solvers, so that we can solve problems faster and in a way that is sustainable. So I remember when I was an intern at Microsoft's App Factory, one of my managers back then shared with me that if you write code that no one is able to use or maintain after you've left, you will cost the company more money. And so you need to write code that is maintainable. So I see it even a lot on social media, people also joking around saying they write code that only they can understand. And it's the problem of the developer that comes after them. And I would say that is a very careless thing to say, you know, and it could actually cost your company a lot of money. No one can afford to rewrite code, you know, so write code that is maintainable. AI programmer can help you use best practices for that. Having comments that is relevant and clear helps you document your code. It means you can then take a step further and actually write the document for your code. And there's other tools for that uses your comments, and they can write an API document to say, hey, this is how this piece of code works, you know? So yeah, let's grow together in this new AI world and explore the possibilities. And I look forward to seeing what you do with this technology. So that's it from my side.
I don't know whether to start with the questions or the comments. So before the comments, so I noticed when we are making the Java application, so you just wrote a piece of you just instructed it what to do, and then it just picked up the calculator add that we made before and also added comments again. So in theory, it does pick up your style of coding to answer the question earlier on.
Yes, it does. And also, one thing that I want to outline is that it still maintains my privacy. So it will not share my code snippets with you if you intend on doing this on your own. It will adapt to whatever it is that you're doing. But also, an add method is an add method, right? I mean, even with the Java library, it has all those predefined as to how can you do things. It has a math library. It has all those things. So you can either use all the built-in libraries for whatever it is you want, but the logic is the same, I think, but also I think through my engagement with Copilot, I'll also get to know, like because you are an observer, you could spot my style, my coding style, which is different from yours. But because I'm always just on my own, doing my own thing, for me, it's all normal. I don't see it as, oh, there's this pattern, So thank you for being a human pair programmer for this exercise, because now I'm aware that I actually have my own habit of doing things, my own coding style of doing things.
Yes. Before I jump onto thank you for that. Before I jump onto the comments, Cornelia, do you have any questions before we jump to the comments?
No, I don't have questions.
Yes. Looks like Cornelia is still digesting what she's received today.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
So the comment that I wanted to add, and based on what GitHub Copilot is showing us, is that it also enforces standardization. Basically, the policies and the standards that we often ignore as programmers, it's enforcing us to follow it. And that's also one of the things that inspires me about GitHub Copilot, basically. So that's just like a comment. Yeah.
Exactly.
So thank you again, Lebo. To wrap up, a nice gift for AI Tuesday and our 100th episode of Inspire Say. There's no better gift than to wow us with this awesome technology, and from someone who works with this or actually contributes in making this type of product. It really means a lot. Thank you again, Lebo.
It's a pleasure, and I look forward to seeing you use it.
Awesome.
Sorry, Cornelia.
Cornelia, your comments?
Just want to thank you for all the new information. And yeah, it's going to be useful to all of us, the students, the professionals. Yeah, that GitHub is actually going to be our best friend. Has to be.
Happy to hear that.
Yeah.
Awesome. So just to let you know, this is not Lebo's last time on being on the Inspire Say show. She'll be visiting us from time to time, and we look forward to that. But till then, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. As we say, don't be selfish with the information that we just received now. It can help you yourself. It can help your peers. It can even help your grandparents and your elders who also want to start learning. There's no too old to start learning something new, basically, if I can put it that way. So yeah. Thank you again. Until next time. Peace.
Bye.